All right, I'd like to call the town board meeting of the town of Lake Mills to order. It is June 13th, 2017 at 8:03 p.m. The notice was published at the town hall, the North End Boat Launch, and the cul-de-sac on Finch Brothers Road, and also on the town's website. Item 2 on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt June's agenda as printed.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye. Aye. And all opposed, the same sign. Item 3, approval of the minutes from our May meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve this meeting.
Second 'em.
Is there any discussion or any questions? Nice job, Sarah. Hearing none. All in favor of approving the minutes from the May 9th meeting, please say aye. Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Minutes are approved. Item 4, approval of the treasurer's report.
Were the minutes of the May meeting published?
Yes, on the town's website.
No, they don't get published
Until
until
they're
they're
approved.
done.
they will be now.
The June treasurer's report. I'm going to ask this silly question. Why do these people not cash their checks?
Some of them are so big.
I don't know, I put a note in, with Ellen's, telling her that, did she contact you, Sarah? Did she contact, if she couldn't find it, that old one, she should at least let us know, and I haven't heard.
I'll check in with them. I know Kayla was waiting to settle. She was moving, but she should have done that by now.
Okay, just a silly question.
I'll make a motion to approve June's treasurer's report.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Are there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the June 2017 treasurer's report, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Treasurer's report is approved. Thank you, Sharon. Item 5, approval of the general funding vouchers.
I'll make a motion to approve June's disbursements of $123,482.54.
And I will second that. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the general funding vouchers, please say aye. Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Thank you. Item 6, the reports, the police report.
And then we're starting our busy season with the boating season starting. So we had 88 hours of boat patrol already in May. 21 of those were administrative hours, and those are the ones where they were setting up the PWC launch or PWC lift and other things, just getting everything all set to go. We issued 9 warnings so far, and a notice in the basket in June that we've got some citations in June. Cody Jepson and Brandon Keach are now on every other weekend, and they're working out very well as new boat patrol officers. Road patrol, we had 42 hours of road patrol, 7.5 hours of radar. We handled 4 complaints for service, issued 12 citations and 5 traffic warnings. Dog licenses, we issued citations for non-compliance to several people. We have a couple that we have to check on, reference the rabies certificates. Sharon's received fees, but they have not sent the rabies certificates, so we will send an officer to the door to see if they're there. If they have, we have to check some to see if they are either still around or if they still have the dogs. But that's pretty much wrapped up. There's only 5 or 6 people left on the list.
Thanks for your effort there, Matt, and thank you. Item C, the Joint Rock Lake Committee report. I did not attend their meeting, so I don't know what they're up to. C, the Planning Commission report. Lee.
Yeah, we met on June 6th, and we didn't actually have any, well, we had an application filed, but none of the paperwork came in, so we didn't discuss it, so that was tabled until that paperwork comes in. We did nominate and elect new officers for the coming year. They were sworn in. So I guess just for a note, Mr. Steve Noss is now the chairman. Myself, I'm the vice chairman. And the secretary will remain, as is.
Steve Zeko?
Steve
Yeah,
Zeko.
Steve Zekoff, yeah. And then we got Sarah Mushka came on board
Oh, okay.
to replace John Schultz, so. And of course, John Batiste is still there, so yep, we're all set.
Yeah, that's good. Not much on their agenda, and it should be noted that they decided not to meet on the 4th of July. They will meet on the 5th of July. We were actually talking about pulling together a little workshop on a boundary agreement and either inviting Steve Wilkie or going there or doing something of that sort. I haven't approached him yet, but I would like to do that. I think it's a good time to get everybody on the same page with that agreement,
Yeah,
since things are getting a little
refreshed.
hot in that department. So we'll work towards that. I don't know if that'll happen on the 5th or if we'll have to do something special or go downtown or, but everyone seemed very interested in that. I didn't realize it, but Steve Zekoff kind of needs a ride to and from the meetings.
Yeah, that's been going on
Yeah,
for a while
so
now with this.
I didn't
with this
know
site,
that,
yeah.
so.
Oh,
Between you and me, we probably can pull that off. Lots of times I'm not at home. I come from the Joint Rock Lake Committee, so if we could kind of team up on that.
Yeah, I
think that would
definitely
be
can
good.
pick them up or drop them off.
I did not understand that until that night, so that was
Yeah.
good. On any other committee reports? Thanks for the dog license work. It's an unending committee. All right, on to item 7, a period of public comment and questions for anything that is not on the agenda for discussion purposes only. Yes, Mr. Weber.
Hi, Dr. DD.
Why don't you go to the podium so you can be on the camera?
And I was going to say, would you like a copy of my minutes from last month?
Oh, that would be fun.
So Sarah does a pretty good job of documenting what's been discussed.
Well, do you want me to put them out there before?
No, I don't think so. We could put it out as a draft. I don't know, what do you guys think?
as a draft, yeah.
I guess the more information the public has, the better. I'm not opposed to that.
Okay.
All right?
Hello,
Hi.
my name is Stephen Weber. I'm 388 Sandy Beach Road, and I'm guessing you may know why I'm here, but I will restate. First, I'm curious because I was not able to be on the agenda, and I really don't know the protocol for doing that. I apologize. And it is my understanding as of today that a township citizen just can't be on the agenda. You have to have town business on the agenda. Generally speaking, maybe later you could inform me, or after I ask some other questions, how that might be done. The agenda item I was hoping to be able to discuss and recognize that I'm able to comment on it during this section of your meeting is in regards to the Pie Lake Pier Association special exemption that was voted on at the April meeting. We discussed it a little bit last May meeting, and we learned we weren't able to get on the agenda at that meeting. I would like to ask if you would look at what I consider new information, and it's simply an aerial image of the pier exemption that you voted to approve. I consider it new information because it shows its relative position to adjacent existing pier facilities, which were not shown on the revised Plan B revision of the drawings submitted by Pie Lake people. May I provide such a photo, or Sarah, could I give you a stick and you broadcast it up there?
I
don't
have
think
it,
you-
I received it from your attorney on June 7th, and that's one thing, if we do end up with it on the agenda, we need to be getting it sooner than that. I mean, sooner than the week before the,
What we were told June 7th was the cutoff
by whom?
I told him that.
Oh, okay.
date. And I
I
realize
don't-
it's a
and
tiny issue,
Well,
but
we have to post our meetings 3 days ahead. Sarah and I usually finish our agendas together the last week of the month, so they can be published after that.
and I really don't have, fur under my saddle too much about the timing issue, but I would like to circulate a drawing if you don't have it in front of you.
Show these guys.
There's actually two of them. There's another one that I made, if you'd like to look at it, which is the image without the pier. And that's pretty close to what the current situation looks like.
The underlying stuff, that's just, you have an overlay here, right?
Yes, this is just
This is
satellite
that.
imagery of existing facility. The overlay is the revision B drawing. I think Sarah may have in the record the revision A that I furnished in, when was that I was here, maybe March.
I don't know that I have that saved anywhere, I think that was just on a stick too, wasn't it? Or we pulled it up, I don't remember how we did that.
They're on there. This is on there.
Let's hope this
I
doesn't
don't know
blow
if
up,
the-
this thing is about to die.
I told you to fix that.
I know you did, but I don't like to spend money.
He keeps thinking it's gonna
It's
keep
going to
going.
die. I've been backing it up like every day.
I think if you would, Sarah, if you would bring up this, I think lot B, rid of B lot lines is maybe the image that you have in front of you. Okay. Got that administrative part done. But I guess my comment is this, what I would ask the board to consider in the context of new information. And I know you've all seen the drawing, the revised pier drawing that they sent in. This is the Rev B. This gray overlay here represents to scale this drawing. They don't show very distinctly on here, but you can see some artifacts of some red lines here. There's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one. And I don't know exactly how you're interpreting this, but I put those on there roughly to represent a lot sightline extended, a line from the shoreline perpendicular into the lake where the property corner hits the water line, and a bisector of that angle. My understanding is that that bisector angle may be the line that is used for the offsets under certain things, whatever. These yellow lines are 10-foot offsets from the property corner in the, if you will, the perpendicular into the water cycle. Any questions about those little annotations? First, let me say, I'm not here to redesign their pier. I'm here to ask you to reconsider rescinding your vote to approve that permit. Because I don't believe this describes the Pier spirit of what we want on Hot Lake. I know for a fact it does not subscribe to my vision of what I want to see visually impacting the shoreline down here. Okay. But be that as it may, from an engineering standpoint, I look at this current design and I'm thinking, they asked you to approve an 80-foot pier with a 100-foot L on it to begin with, and they revised it to a 100-foot pier with an 80-foot L on it, assuming that they would have 10 feet each side for their lot line, I guess, I'm assuming. I don't think that respects that if you put these 4 boats here, you physically can't get them into those slits because of this adjoining neighboring pier. And I don't know if you can make that guy move his out of there. That's another issue. But physically, this doesn't work. It's also shoehorned in there depending on whether you take that bisector angle approach versus the perpendicular approach, because that narrows as you go into the lake. The longer that pier is, the less opportunity they have to use 80 feet, 100 less 10 on each side. Okay. I don't want to burn your evening blathering on about that, but this relative position, and I would ask that it's my recollection in March when you decided to table the vote on Plan A of the pier, that we requested if they submit a new drawing that they show it with regard to adjacent facilities, which they did not. And I think looking at this drawing and having someone say we have 100 feet to play with down here, you might say, oh, that's pretty close. What the heck? I don't know. Because of that, I would like to consider that this presents an additional problem. So I guess my comment is, what criteria do you use to consider approving a special exemption permit if it is not the existing Pier Ordinance or existing state regulation or existing public comment with the objection of the neighboring riparian rights owners? I'm just wanting to learn about this because I believe it's a conundrum for me. I don't want this approved because it's not in keeping with respect for the lake. I think it sets a terrible precedent for the next person that marches in here and wants an exception for a 120-foot pier and 40 boat slips. And I'm afraid that there will be associations cropping up around the lakeshore to do this sort of thing. So I guess I'm pleading with you to educate me. How can I get on the agenda for this? And what criteria do I need to present to state my argument other than calling in the attorneys?
Well, let's start off here, Steve. Have you spoken with any of the people who are owners of the Pie Lake Association to know where they are in their process?
I have not.
Do you or have you talked with Al Bila, the water reg specialist?
I don't know whether he's still out, but he's not answering his voicemail.
I received a letter about riprap from him today, so I know that he is still alive.
Well, I'll take that as a good thing.
I guess I would like to know where they are in their process.
May I ask their process regarding?
Well, they have received permission from the town board for this pier, but they would need, in my knowledge, the next step would be that they would need to apply for a permit from the Department of Natural Resources.
Okay.
I don't know if that has been
I
done.
see, I see.
I don't know that.
I don't either.
And I would love to hear what Al has to say about the scenario. I know he has been approached. If he is not returning your call,
Sure.
then I'm going to
But if he's
ask
in the
him.
office, I could drive over there.
Well, I think you need to find out where they're at in their process and what Al would have to say about it. That's what I was talking about when we were talking about new information.
Sure, okay, okay.
Basically, I have always stated that I thought there were navigational issues here. The lake is warm enough now to be out on it. We were out on it, pulled into Sandy Beach for a swim last week, and I can't quite imagine what it would look like. I can't quite imagine the size of it because it's almost shoreline to shoreline pier right now. And there's a boat on there that is more than 24 feet, I believe, in length. I don't know how wide it is, but I understand what they're going for.
I understand what they're going, I'm sorry to interrupt. I think I understand what they're going for.
I guess the criteria upon which we would make a special decision was basically decided for us ahead of time in the year 2012. A former board made the decision that they could have 15 boat slips, and that's how that decision got made. How the criteria for these guys determined how they would vote upon the issue in April is a question that they will have to answer. I'm concerned about where we're at in the process. And if there is more information that Al can provide or the Pier Association themselves about where they're at in the process, that would be of interest to me. And I
Understand.
believe when they do that DNR permit process, there will be a time to comment.
Well, that's, I guess if I would ask for maybe some clarification on that, so that I have some understanding. I would not like to get caught in a catch-22 of learning from the town board that since you've approved it, Pi Association has gone to the DNR. I have no standing at the DNR, but I believe I have standing in this room. Now, if the DNR does something without regard to my individual complaints, which are fairly local, and I think you folks respect the local aspect of this, then I'll say it this way, I'm going to find myself having the DNR point at you and you guys point at them, and I'm just tilting against windmills here. I think, meaning no disrespect, I think you've made a bad decision on approving this in the first place. I think in good faith you might have said, well, it's pretty close to what it was before, let's go with it. I think in light of this, a reasonable person would say, I can't approve that, regardless of exemption or not. Whether or not you are entitled to offer an exemption on this, I'm advised is a separate matter. But I just don't want to get caught in a whirlpool of nobody has responsibility until somebody's stamped it and I hear it's too late. So I don't want to wait to hear from Al Bila, but I will try to visit him tomorrow in person if that's what it takes. It's my understanding that the DNR has not ever approved that exemption. I can't find any DNR approval of what's out there now, let alone getting approval for what's being proposed. So,
I'm not exactly sure how long their approval process has been in place.
yeah. So it's just a foot race here that and with all due respect, if we weren't able to get on the May agenda because of timing, and we can't get on the June agenda because we don't have new information, at some point in time, the clock is ticking and the DNR may do something not to my liking. And not just to my liking, but the people along the lakefront there, I think we speak in unison that this This, I get the fact that it adds property value to those city lots up there, but I believe it detracts value from the lots in the township. Some of the owners are in this room. I don't think that's a fair trade. That's not one I'm willing to make,
All right,
aside from the visual impact. And I see on the agenda, which I guess I apologize, I didn't see till coming in here, but there's an agenda item to discuss and decide on a new Pier Ordinance. I would hate to see this become a template for some provision in a new Pier Ordinance. So that's my public comment.
all right, thank you.
It may be a minor point, but I'd like to remind the board that the original Pier extension that was written in 2002 required that the 15 boats be placed in a manner such that it would comply with Ordinance 5-6, which called for a 50-foot limit.
Bill, you're speaking to the 2002 exemption?
Yes.
Yes. We have a copy of that handy if we can submit it along with that drawing, or maybe that's getting perilously close to being on the agenda. I don't know.
Would you like to come to the podium and make any other comments?
Make that comment?
Make any other comments?
Let me think. I'll make one other comment. Rule 5-6, I believe, says that the maximum pier length is 50 feet, or go to 100 feet in order to get to 3 feet of water. I didn't go to the pie pier and measure the depth of the water, but I did measure the depth of the water on the blue pier that's just to the left in that diagram, the Williams Pier. 3 feet of water occurs 50 feet out. At the end of the pier, which is out at 75 feet, if I remember correctly, the depth is 5 feet 8 inches. The depth configuration that's applicable to the pie is surely 3 feet occurs much earlier than before you get to 100 feet. In spite of which, one of the members of the pie claimed it was 3 feet at that point, at one of the meetings.
That's not true. We didn't know
Remember
that.
that.
Yes. All right, thank you. Is there anyone else?
Thank you for allowing me the time.
Is there anyone else who'd like to make a public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 8, application of review of applications filed. Discussion and decision on a request to hold a special event by the AIDS Resource Center or Wisconsin for AIDS Ride Wisconsin on July 30th, 2017. Didn't have anyone here last month.
They are available by phone this month.
Okay. Guess I'll make a motion to approve the special event. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Is there any discussion?
They're not through here very much, but they are
Yeah.
on 134, and I did get notice that they are gonna start working on that, so I'll make sure I tell them that that's happening.
All right. When does that happen? 134.
It's in
Can I
correspondence.
interrupt on part 7 again? I'm sorry, since the picture is still out there. To put this in perspective, I wanted to mention this before. To put this in perspective, the 50-foot pier ordinance looks pretty close to that. That pier is 40 feet long. And the water is about 3.5 feet deep at the end of that 40-foot long pier. If that provides some scale reference to the marina pier.
All right, thank you. You have the contact person's name, so you can talk to her about the
Yes,
construction?
yes, yes.
What is the time frame on 134?
It's in correspondence. It is,
They're finally going to do it. The state, right? And they're gonna give it to us.
Yeah, they're gonna give it to Jefferson County probably.
I'll have to find it.
Okay.
They're starting markers
All right.
in the next couple weeks.
All right,
Maybe I've got it at home, sorry.
that's all right. So there's a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the AIDS Resource Center ride for July 30th, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And all opposed, the same sign. The ride is approved. Please talk to her, okay?
Yes, I will.
B, discussion and decision on a request to hold a special event by the UW Department of Human Oncology for The Ride on September 18th, 2017.
They weren't quite ready. They just got permission from the city. They're using Commons Park, so they'll come next month.
All right. C, Nelson, what's that?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Nothing.
Boy, I'm really on the ball, aren't I?
D, discussion to decision on liquor, malt, tobacco, non-intoxicating operator and manager license applications for annual renewal.
I have 2 to add to the operators for Mo's Place, Jeremy and Andrea Zimmerman. Came late. They have been, there have been renewals the last several years, and Matt had a chance to look at them. Oh,
Okay.
and that, yes, we looked at every operator this year.
Okay,
All
good.
right. How do you want to handle this, you guys?
Well, let's just do.
Just go through the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay, we're
Class
gonna
A
handle the
and then-
combo Class A liquor and malt renewal for Dahar Singh at the Lake Mills Travel Plaza at N 6947 County Highway 89, Lake Mills.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. Is there any discussion? All in favor of approving this combo Class A, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. That Class A permit is renewed. Combo Class B liquor and malt renewal for Larry M. Hamschild at Mo's Place on County Highway B, Jeffrey Baumgartner at Krogville Oasis on County Highway O, T&D Ready Incorporated running the London Depot on Main Street in London.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the combo Class B licenses as read, please say aye. Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Those licenses are granted. Cigarette and tobacco products over the counter, D&L at Lake Mills Travel Plaza, the Rutabaga Farm at the Krogville Oasis, T&D Ready Incorporated at the London Depot. I will motion to approve the sale of cigarettes and tobacco at those 3 sites.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving those 3 tobacco licenses, please say aye. Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Non-intoxicating beverages, Larry Hamschild at Mo's, Mr. Singh at the Lake Mills Travel Plaza, Rutabaga Farm at the Krogville Oasis, and T&D Ready at the London Depot. I will motion to approve those.
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving these 4 non-intoxicating beverage licenses, please say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Those licenses are granted. The manager licenses, Harinder Singh at the Lake Mills Travel Plaza and Jeffrey M. Baumgartner at the Krogville Oasis. I would motion to approve those 2 managers' licenses.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
We're good there, Matt. You don't check managers, you just check operators. Is that?
I did say and all that on there also, whatever submitted to me, and I did check every single one.
Okay.
And none of them had anything that
Okay.
I would give a recognition not to be approved.
All right.
Good. We have a motion on the floor and a second, true? All in favor of approving these 2 managers' licenses, please say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, the same sign. Those 2 licenses are granted. The operator's license, Jacqueline D. Adamek at the Lake Mills Travel Plaza, Silcerio Carrillo, pretty good, huh? Lake
Yeah,
Mills
you are
Travel
good.
Plaza.
Yeah.
Michael H. Redmond at Mo's Place, Heather M. Williams, Mo's Place, Heather M. Williams, Krogville Oasis, Tierra E. Rainey, Krogville Oasis, Michelle M. Morgan, London Depot, Becky A. Reddy, London Depot, Nathan V. Johnson, London Depot, Jeffrey A. Conover, London Depot, Jeremy and Andrea Zimmerman,
Mo's Place.
Mo's Place.
Now, this is the first time I've seen an applicant for 2 establishments in the same
Yeah.
municipality. Do they need to have
Yes,
one
yes,
per, like,
yes,
per,
yes.
okay, per place, all right,
Needs to be posted at each
okay.
establishment.
That's what I thought. Just wanted to make sure I'm not charging our twice.
No, I would motion to approve these operators' licenses.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Thank you, Matt, for your time and talents in getting that organized. All in favor of approving these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 licenses, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And all opposed, same sign. Operators' license are granted. That's an annual thing, happens every June. Everybody had their personal property tax paid?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thanks.
Think about that too.
Me too. All right. Old business. A, discussion and decision on amendments to ordinance 5-5, the regulation of traffic on Rock Lake, and the ordinance 5-6, regulation of piers on Rock Lake. These ordinances have been in the boiler room for quite a while. Time to start talking about approving them. Do you guys have, what's your input?
And I went through the Icebound Waters one. I thought that was put together very well. Really nothing to add. Maybe that, as far as the speeds greater than 45 miles an hour, I mean, we know that's probably not happening now. So I don't know how that's going to be enforced or what the plan is there. Necessarily, they're going to have squad cars on the lake.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Even 45 is kind of fast. 15 to 20 would be better.
Well,
I mean, I'm thinking just with, I don't see really vehicles on there doing that fast, but snowmobiles.
Well, snowmobiles, yeah,
they
true,
go fast.
yeah.
Well, they go faster.
Yeah.
So,
I think that,
I mean, do we feel 45 is the right
Where's that?
speed? Is that what-
I thought we took that out.
I requested it to be taken out.
Yeah, we took that all out. We took the 45 out.
Speed.
Prudent.
Yes,
sorry.
reasonable and prudent speed.
Reasonable
Oh,
and
okay.
prudent was the terminology in one.
So
Okay, sorry.
you must be looking at an old draft.
Yeah,
am, yeah.
I didn't put new ones in the
All right.
packets because I didn't. we
No
didn't talk
person
about
shall
it yet.
operate a vehicle or snowmobile at a great speed greater than is reasonable and prudent under conditions, and having regard for the actual and potential hazards then existing. So that takes weather into consideration. The speed of the vehicle or the snowmobile shall be controlled as may be necessary to avoid colliding with any object, person, vehicle, or other conveyance on the icebound waters of Rock Lake or its tributaries named above, and that's all in the definitions. So, here's another one that was a little controversial. Snowmobiles remain 150 feet from shore after entering or exiting the ice. Disabled vehicle partially embedded or submerged in the water of Rock Lake or its tributaries may be removed within 48 hours unless it's deemed a hazard by the town chair or chief of police. It will have to be removed immediately. All costs associated with the removal will be the responsibility of the owner of the vehicle or the snowmobile. And littering is then covered under state statutes. This is basically a freestanding ordinance. We can do this ourselves. The Pier Ordinance is one that we would like to coordinate with the city on. I don't know if it's worth waiting for or what our process will be. I just wanted to make sure that you guys had a chance to give input on these two ordinances at this time. What is the process, Sarah?
We have to formalize or finalize the amendments, vote on those amendments, publish it, and then vote on adopting those amendments.
Okay. Is there anything that you feel before we make these next steps that we could change or should change? Do you feel that way about both of the ordinances?
Well, we had talked about focusing on icebound waters
Yes.
this
Yeah, I'm
summer.
comfortable with the icebound. I
All right.
agree
Yeah,
with
that
it.
one, yeah.
I'm
Would
not-
you rather wait and see what comes before us from the city?
Did the Joint Rock Lake Committee get before the city yet with their letter?
I don't know where they're at. I know they wrote a letter, but I
Yep.
don't know where they're at.
Okay.
They are not meeting in July, and so that is one of those things that can sit on the back burner until we hear something from the city. Maybe in the course of things, we'll have kind of a joint meeting and hear a little more about where they're at with that. So from here, I guess I would,
Is it possible to ask a question?
yes, certainly.
Is there a draft or a list of changes that are being proposed for consideration?
There is a draft of the Pier Ordinance.
The proposed new one that you're working on with the city?
Is that posted?
I think that's in our website, isn't it?
I didn't see
I
it.
think so.
Well, let's put that on the website, okay? The draft of the Pier Ordinance. If you will email me and remind me, I will have somebody send that. Basically, the things that we covered in there were the side yard setbacks and the same things that you were talking about that are in the state pier planner. There are some definitions about inflatables, swimming rafts, mooring buoys, all of those things that come to play upon the lake. It is not at all that controversial, but it is another difficult thing. I have asked several times for the Department of Natural Resources to review the ordinance. Our attorney has reviewed the ordinance, and he has stated that he would like our ordinance to agree with the city's. The city's ordinance governing piers is scattered over several chapters of their ordinance book, so we were hoping to pull these two things together.
Would there be a unified one then? that would
Yes,
be on file?
yes, that would be the way we would like to approach it. Due to the fact that regulation of piers attached to different municipalities, they are the enforcing unit. So if your property is within the city has enforcement property, or has responsibility. If it's in the town has enforcement responsibility. So it would be really nice if our ordinances agreed. I'm not holding my breath for the Department of Natural Resources to review our ordinance.
Can I ask the town's opinion on whether or not they feel they're the tail on the wagging dog? If the city has say on the Pier Ordinance that the town must abide by? I mean,
No. Our Joint Rock Lake Committee is a group of citizens made up of 3 people from the town, 2 people from the city, and they have worked diligently on this for the last year. I feel what they bring forward will be a good recommendation for the city. In order to make that happen through the city council, there must be a city council sponsor for this legislation. And so I think we're still waiting for that to play out. I would very much like to have the regulation on the icebound traffic of Rock Lake in place before that thing hardens up again. The Pier Ordinance, I can wait for. Strategy. I do think it's worthy. I think we've had a very good communal effort to work on the Pier Ordinance for Rock Lake from the city and from the town, and I think we will have a good product. It's going to take a while, though. So could we have a decision on the Ordinance 5-5, regulation of traffic on the waters of Rock Lake?
To send it to publication?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to send ordinance 5-5 regulation of traffic on the ice of Rock Lake to publication.
And I'll second that. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving this, please say aye. Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. So we'll go through the process of adopting this ordinance, and we will continue to work on ordinance 5-6. And I guess I would like to put that back on the agenda in July, and then I can give you an update of where the Joint Rock Lake Committee is on it.
Then the other thing too, just as a suggestion too, is usually, there's always, the public hearing first.
Right,
And
yep.
then,
Yeah, you're right.
so, yeah.
Yep.
Right. So we'll be dealing with this before things get frozen. That's all I care about. Item B, discussion and decision on our building inspector contract. Today, I had a meeting with our engineer, Mike Payant, and our building inspector's supervisor, Chris, from Safe Built. I asked them if indeed they did not feel they had any responsibility for determining side yard setbacks or other kinds of setbacks. Chris emphatically says that in Dane County, the county is responsible for all of those side yard setbacks and frontage, lakefront setbacks, and roadside setbacks. I have asked the county several times for clarification on this. They said that this is all in our contract, and I'm still kind of at a loss over this.
I don't know how, if the county would do that, I think it would be better for the building inspector because he's visiting those sites all the time.
Okay, that's what I said too. It's not really the
So
county's.
before the building is, when it's staked, before they start shoveling, those things need to be checked, or they need to be checked when the footings are poured. To have the county do that, they have, a lot of other things to do. The town of Lake Mills is just a detail.
I asked this question. Safe Built is the new company
Yeah, from bought out independent.
from Independent Inspections.
Yep.
And I asked Chris how long he had worked for them, and he said he had been with them for 20 years and that they're having some bumps. We did get a contract from them. The contract was dated, I think, 2009.
4, no, one says 4, one says 9. Nice. Yeah, 9.
I asked him if he could provide us a new contract. But I think that's one of the things that I would like to write into the contract. I
I
would
agree.
also like
Yeah.
to talk to the zoning office and see if anybody else in the county is using Safe Built and see how they're handling their setbacks.
I think town asked them to use this because they were using independent before, so I think Safe Build is there
Ask
too.
them that.
I think Town of Waterloo does too.
I can find out. But I just didn't like this old hot potato idea. I did also have a phone call, several phone calls from Greg Knoll, who is the city's building inspector, and he would like our business. And I said, you would need to provide us at least 1 hour of office time every week. And he said that he didn't think he could provide that, but he would still be happy to do a job. And I said, well, I don't think that really is going to qualify you. So I did go over some of the details for the siding in the new subdivision with those two guys today, and I guess we'll have to go back over that because, as you recall, those garage levels were pretty well specified, and I think we really are going to need to have some enforcement there. Come into this thing with knowledge that things are going to be done right and that they're going to be set back and that those swales they were talking about in between the houses are maintained so that that grade can be good to go for a long time. At any rate, I think we're not going to be making any decisions tonight, but I think We need to ask for a new contract from Safe Build. I don't know who else is in the market. If you would like us to write an RFP to stir that up a little and get some action, I think Sarah and I could do that over the summer and maybe get a couple other bids.
Sure.
There is this, I think it's Bill 211. Am I right? It is a bill that says that all the permits, all the reporting, all of the stuff that has been done by hand before now needs to be computerized to return that information to the state and to make it available to the public. Safe Built says they're going to be doing this and have this all set and put together. The towns may need to apply themselves, but they would help us with the paperwork and get everything set so that that's ready to go in 2018. We certainly could put this out for bid. I don't know how you feel about it. I've been a little powerless in the last several go-rounds with builders. Looks like we're going to have Chris here for, 8 weeks? While Dean is covering somebody in the Waushara County area. Just want to make sure we get this subdivision off on the right foot. What do you guys think?
Never hurts to have competition.
All right. We can put out some kind of an RFP.
RFP's always
We need to.
seem to get some action going.
Well, it would be nice to be able to compare apples to other apples. You know, I just couldn't go with the idea that he wasn't going to give us an hour worth of office time.
He's always got people in here during that 1 hour.
Yeah, there's always somebody here, and I think that job is more of an education
Yeah.
Yeah,
component, don't you?
sure.
I think Dean has a tendency to be too nice.
That's not the reports that I'm hearing lately.
Okay, good.
It depends.
All right, well, we'll pull that up, and maybe we can stir that up by July, maybe not, maybe August, okay? I look at the calendar and I think, where did the summer go? It hasn't even started yet. All right, moving on. Item 10, new business. The discussion and decision on letting additional road bids. Dennis is a disappointment to me.
Uh-oh.
Dennis called me and said, if you guys are thinking about wanting to do another road, why don't you consider Airport Road?
Yeah.
And Airport Road, of course, was the first road that Jay started to patch and put 5 tons of patch on.
We have a better base now. You know, I don't know, that's gonna, you wouldn't be able to do all of it.
No.
Because that's probably close to
It's 2 miles.
$300,000 road.
Yeah. Would you consider, I mean, he was supposed to bring me some numbers. He said that we could simply amend our decision and extend it.
Well, that would be a separate deal because the airport road would be our highway budget, where Newville Road and Conservation Road is the earmark money. So I don't know. I guess a couple of thoughts I had was one, Polo Lane, just south of where all the activity has been, where Jay had the pictures. I think probably when, I was thinking maybe this year, maybe it's going to be next year, that should be milled to the intersection of County Highway 80, and that should be repaved, and so you can get the pitch corrected in there. But like I said, that could be this year, next year. You probably want to time it out when they do the second pass.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I was
Do you
thinking,
think it needs to be milled, or do you think we could just wedge it?
it could be wedged and overlaid. I think so, because it's not broken up. It just has some bird baths, and we've lost 2%.
It would make sense to do them both at the same time.
The other thing I was hoping, I know, Sharon, we'd love to give you a brand new road next year, maybe. But one thing we could think about is I talked to you a little bit about that last year when I showed you the pictures, and I think the Scott's, what's the salesman's name that was?
Bob?
Bob. You take Crossman Road or Hope Lake Road, where those cracks keep getting deeper and wider, and you ride your bike up this, I'm sure you feel those.
Yeah.
I think maybe one consider maybe going in and blasting those out and putting that patch net mechanism that they put over them, and then chip seal. Because I think that's, Crossman Road has a really good base. Lake Mills Blacktop, when they were, had the pit, they maintained that road, so we lost that. So it's got, a good base because it's heavy traffic. And it could be that if those cracks are filled up and we make it a little smoother, maybe that road could last it quite a while. Hope Lake Road is getting, if you've got a road down there, you get a personal look there.
In my opinion, the worst road that is around here, I don't go on the road that much, just because I'm always, Sharon scared me away from it.
Is
But
airport.
it's scenic.
Over trees hanging over.
But I mean,
It's airport.
this Mud Lake Road
Oh,
And
down here
yeah,
is
yeah,
really bad.
yeah.
South of here. And I know
That is true too.
it's scary how bad that is. I mean, that's to me, it's almost surpassed Newville. That first mile past how bad it is.
Yeah, that first mile or to the fence line, the first fence line you come to by Schrader's there, that's a city-town controversy right there. We'd have to see
Sure, yeah,
what
but
Wilton
even
would do.
even
The rest of it is
quarter
not.
mile down to the bend and around is.
I agree. Right up to the next part. The next thing is we're up for trip next year, correct?
yep.
Any idea where you'd want to go with that? I mean, that's what we did on the portion that we redid on Mud Lake Road. That was trip money.
That's still really nice.
What was that?
Good shape.
4 years ago? No, it's not.
Yeah, it's a 4-year rotation.
So I think, what was that? 1,900 feet?
Yeah.
So I agree with you, what you're saying. But, rather than using it for an overlay or something, I was thinking is maybe we could take something that's pretty good and try to make it last a lot longer.
Well, then I think
Maybe.
this is what we should do. I think we should put these things out for bid. Let's get Dennis to quote us what he would do to airport.
And then if that, even if we decide not to do that, it'll start to give us some facts for making a decision.
Right, later on.
Yeah, right.
And let's bid out the wedge overlay for Polo. I think we probably have to do this, but you brought up something earlier, there's gonna be a heck of a lot of construction on that road.
Yep.
Maybe it's early to do that, but we can certainly look at that, because that's kind of what we did on Elm Point last year, was to wedge and overlay and seal coat some of those cracks.
Yep,
That's what you're
yep.
thinking of.
Yep, exactly.
And the same with Crossman and Hope Lake would
Yep.
be a glorified crack fill with a seal coat.
Right.
I'm sure they'll all be happy to
I know what
give us a bid.
Scott's did up in the town of Columbus. I was kind of impressed with that. I thought it worked out pretty good. The other two little projects we should probably take a look at is Fayetteville Road, the culvert right there by
I've
Reeves.
priced that 3 times.
That thing really needs to have a wedge put on it.
That's about a $5,000 project.
And then also the one by Matt Thomas is not very good either.
That's on Cool Road.
Up on Cool Road, yeah. And then the other little project is, I still think possibly that we should get somebody to grind that speed bump out of Hope Lake Road, for the culvert that was put in a couple of years ago.
Oh,
Grind it out, rip it out, and redo it, because that is somewhat rather annoying.
all right.
I know those three they're not huge projects, but I think it should be.
Okay, that's what we'll do, and then we can put those out to bid, and hopefully we can look that over in July. That might be kind of short too. Don't we have a board of review on the 20th? We could have it all happen by then.
17th actually, but we'll get to that.
If you got something
Yes?
truck at
Well,
Hobbs.
Yeah. That's what he posted it as. We could change it still, but
What's that?
I just was saying, it's a little bit of a short notice to have this ready to go by the 11th of July. Maybe we could open it at the 20th. Now Sarah says the Board of Review has been changed to the 17th.
I just
Oh,
confirmed with Steve today. He's still alive, by the way.
okay.
Well, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
17.
But I could shoot for later in the month, give people a little more time with the holiday. What do you think?
Yeah,
Or do you want to wait, or want me to speed it up and get it done by the 11th?
we can't wait too long because they're gonna get booked.
That's exactly right. Okay,
So that was July 17th.
Well, he
Six?
left it with me the 17th or the 20th, and then somewhere along the way, he sent the letters out with the 17th on it.
Okay.
So we could change it. I can post it everywhere I can think of, but the letters went out with the 17th.
Lee,
it's the,
I know,
gotta-
he was the one that said that it was, that 20th was the better day.
it's not good for me.
20th isn't, or the
The
17th?
17th.
Well, we can, like I said, we just have to put a note on the door and try to reach everybody, and put it back in the newspaper again.
Okay,
It's fine.
what time would we do this? 6
6
to
to
8?
8.
Just bad.
well, you have open book on the 21st.
Yep.
So anybody that comes in for open book could be
Right.
notified then, because more than likely, whoever's gonna come and challenge for board of review is gonna go to open
It's
book.
better that we're going forward, not backward.
Yeah.
You know, they're not gonna
Okay.
miss it.
Right.
Do you want me to
Okay.
have him leave it the 20th?
What do you think?
Sure be better for me. I don't know what you guys got going.
June 20th, 21st.
Well,
is a
no,
Thursday,
the June,
right? Yeah.
June 21st was the open book, so
So that's
we,
still fine. The 17th
Yeah.
is okay for me. That's fine.
July.
Sorry, July 17th, yeah.
Yes.
I can make it work. That's fine.
Hope,
I committed to something on the 17th, 18th, and 19th.
so the 20th it's gonna stay, I guess, huh?
Well, you'll have to talk to him.
I did. He sent the letters out with the 17th.
Shit. Okay.
But if we want to change it to the 20th, we just will have to deal with that. You tell me.
You're right, though. We could just inform people at open book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, you better find out if he's free.
I think he is.
Okay.
So work on that.
Yeah.
Change it to the 20th.
I'd sure like that. Of course, you guys could do it without me and did it before.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna wrangle up some bids for
Yeah.
Polo Lane, for Crossman and Hope Lake, for Fable, and for Cool.
If you're not gonna be there, Hope, then we'd have to appoint an alternate. If you're really not gonna be there on the 17th.
Why?
But we could
Oh,
split.
yeah, this is making you happy, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. So did you agree with me? I'm ahead on these road bids. I'm gonna do Polo Lane, Crossman and Hope Lake, Airport, Fable, and Cool, and see what happens. All right? We still have plenty of time. There was some discussion that Newville would be done at the end of June, so we're gonna,
The sooner the better. You know, as soon as, we'll find out, I guess, after our meeting tomorrow night.
yes,
there.
we have a lot of work to do tomorrow night.
So what
okay.
we can do there, but.
That's what I'm gonna do. Put that out on the wire, all right? You gotta help me, darn it.
It's on my
Okay.
list. My list is growing by the minute.
B, discussion and decision on changing our payroll company. Sarah was a little alarmed at the rate increases that were
Yeah.
coming forward.
Yep, well, so I talked to Mr. Dan Sampt today to confirm what I got from his associate a couple weeks ago. And he went a little further and just quoted us. So he says that theirs works a little differently. They would do everything that the current payroll company does, and not charge any extra for the end of the year W-2s and such. So essentially, it would come down to about $100 a month. Whereas right now, under the current fee structure, 2016, the last full calendar year, cost us $1,200 under the old payroll system, before increases.
Okay.
And I have lots and lots of details, so just tell me what you need.
So then with Dan, his new hires, And I-
No fee.
no fee for that
No
either?
fee
huh?
for that. No
Okay,
fee.
no W-2 processing.
Correct. He has a scale for the base fee, and it's based on how many employees you have.
So these guys.
And so, since I told him ours fluctuates depending on the month,
Right?
he asked me, well, what does it fluctuate between? And we came to the consensus that
average.
he would just charge us the middle ground instead of trying. He said for him, it's more cumbersome to figure it out each month how much the base fee should be. So he said, let's just do the middle of the road. That's where we came up with the around $100. Once that includes the base fee, the direct deposit fee, which is something that is the service that does those deposits charges, not him, and all the year-end stuff, all the quarterly reports, everything.
So, I
All
guess.
I have to do is submit my numbers like I do now. Right now,
Yeah.
I go online and I put the hours in, and the rest gets calculated. The dollars get calculated.
I mean, Dan's right downtown. I don't personally know him, but we're right in the corner there. But I guess one thing, just a flag went up when you said around $100 a month.
I know them. It's good.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Well, because it's 75 for the base.
Right,
And if we
yeah.
have $1.25 per direct deposit, in a month like January, we have 8 typically paychecks. Well, that's not going to add up to $100.
Right.
But in the summer, we have the watercraft inspectors and the police officers, and we have election workers and all of those things.
Yep.
We're going to be a little over. So that's where he came up with that.
Okay, gotcha.
When would we make this transition, Sarah?
Immediately.
Immediately? All right.
Because the rates go up July 1st, or
All
with
right.
the first July payroll, and I asked him, how much lead time do you need? Will that work? And he said, yep, absolutely. It's
All
no
right,
problem.
I would make a motion to change our payroll company to Sanft Accounting, Lake Mills.
I'll second it.
Is there any more discussion?
So, I mean, we're thinking this is gonna save us, what, $200 a year potentially?
I think it's going to be a lot more than
Yeah, it's
that.
gonna be a lot more than that. So yeah, you'd be, a couple $100 just in the base fee, but then, your W-2.
I was thinking it's based off what we paid the previous year, sorry.
Yes.
Right, no, that's
Okay.
before the increases.
Yeah.
That's before this increase,
Right.
yeah.
So I think I calculated about $600 a year.
With the increases,
Right.
the new increases.
It just
okay,
would save
yeah.
us $600 a year.
I was just looking at how it would we compare
Mm-hmm.
year on year if these increases didn't happen.
Oh, if it would be even if the increases weren't
Okay.
happening, but they are. And they're quoting at about 30% increase, so,
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
yeah.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of changing our payroll company to Sanft Accounting, Lake Mills, please say aye.
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 And all opposed, the same side. Thank you. Thanks for your work on that, Sarah. Discussion and decision on adding a second canoe or kayak storage rack at Mahalo Shores.
So this is the second year in a row that we've been full at the Ferry Park rack. I have a waiting list 4 deep, which is half a rack. So we had written on the back of our contracts that if the time came and we added one, we would add it at Mahalo Shore. That's where I came up with that. The question is, do you want to spend Rock Lake account funds and add another rack? And
What did we have
collect-
in it last time? About $1,000?
It was almost 2. Back in May of 2014, it was almost 2,000. We collect about $480 a year, which means it pays for itself in just over 4 years.
Is Majala Shores the preferred site, or do you think the people that are waiting in line would rather see it at Ferry Park? We do have room there.
I mentioned it at Majala, and people were in favor of that. I think if we had one at Ferry, that would probably take the Shorewood Hills upper area people, and Majala would be the ones down by Shorewood Meadows, probably. I don't think that we need to put it at Ferry if we can. I don't think anybody cares because they're using it regardless. But I had a couple of people say, "Oh, Majala would be great," but I don't know that that's definitely an issue.
I don't have a problem with it. I guess that's what we talked about before.
I know the Rock Lake Homeowners Association added another rack to their area this year, and that also filled up immediately.
I also noticed the one at the city was full of boats too. Sits right down there by the other pier, by a lift for our PWC. Have you seen it? The lift for the PWC is pretty nice.
I gotta check it out.
Okay,
How soon do you think we could get, I mean, do you know anything about Bob's availability at this
it
point?
seems like he's always busy.
Yeah.
I guess
I
we'd
don't
have to
remember how
call him.
long it took to get it built, but
Guess we'd have to call him and talk
I
it
suppose
over.
now that he's at least got a template,
Yeah,
maybe it'll
might
be
be
a little
easier.
easier.
Well, what's your pleasure?
So,
Yeah.
make a motion, I'll make a motion to approve a additional kayak canoe storage rack at Majola's Shores not to exceed $2,000.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. I guess I'll talk to Bob.
Thank you.
Board expense approval sheets. Anybody got any expenses? Correspondence. I know you got a load of it.
No, I don't. I have a new letter from Mr. Weber. Would you like me to read
Yes,
all
please.
of that? Okay. Regarding the approval of request for pier extension by the Pie Lake Association. This is dated June 7th of 2017. Dear members of the Lake Mills Town Board, at its meeting on Tuesday, April 18th, 2017, the Lake Mills Town Board approved a request for pier extension by the Pie Lake Association. On behalf of my client, Stephen W. Weber, owner of property located at 388 Sandy Beach Road in the town of Lake Mills, I am writing to object to the town's approval of the request for the Pie Lake Association's proposed pier extension and urge the town to rescind its approval. The grounds for this include the following. Number one, the standards in the town's ordinance providing for exceptions to restrictions on the size and placement of piers are vague and cannot be reasonably applied to protect riparian rights, and the ordinance is therefore unconstitutional and any exceptions purported to be issued are void. Number two, to the extent there are standards in the town's ordinance that can be applied to guide a decision on the size and location of piers, such as that proposed by the Pie Lake Association, the town arbitrarily and unreasonably applied those standards in granting the Pie Lake Association's request for pier extension. Number three, to the extent there are standards in the town's ordinance that can be applied to guide a decision on the size and location of piers, such as that proposed by the Pie Lake Association, the application was incomplete as it did not contain any information regarding the proximity of the proposed pier to neighboring piers, and any decision is therefore arbitrary and unreasonable. As shown on the enclosed overlay photograph, the placement of this pier will detrimentally affect neighboring riparian property owners' access to their pier, including Mr. Weber. The town board did not have any information regarding the impact of the proposed pier on neighboring properties at the time of its decision to approve the application, and any decision made without this information is arbitrary and unreasonable. Number four, this proposed pier extension requires a permit from the DNR, and town action is premature without such a permit. The town board should rescind its decision to approve the Pie Lake Association's proposed pier extension pending adoption of a valid ordinance and a completed application from the Pie Lake Association. In the alternative, the town board should rescind its approval and require a new application complete with an analysis of the impact of the proposed pier on neighboring properties. I request that this matter be placed on the agenda for the next Lake Mills Town Board meeting. Mr. Weber reserves all his rights to pursue invalidation of the current ordinance and any action taken or approval granted under that defective ordinance. Best regards, James I. Stott, Stafford Rosenbaum, LLP. And then we have a letter from our Ms. Lori Peters, who was here last week on Park Lane, to Chairperson Hope and the Town of Lake Mills Board. After reviewing the Town of Lake Mills Board meeting from May 2017, where I first presented the issue, I feel the need to readdress my concern about the speed of traffic on Park Lane Road. I find it poor logic to simply say people will be people when presented with a public safety concern, or to suggest that we should have expected the issue when moving close to boat launch. Let me explain that this property has been in the Piers family for over 50 years. We understand the amount of traffic. What we don't understand is local law enforcement and the board's disregard for speed on Park Lane Road. At any given time, there are people walking dogs, children on bikes, families with strollers, and pedestrians walking to the launch. For law enforcement to turn a blind eye to the traffic traveling 10 to 20 miles per hour over the speed limit is unacceptable to me and many others. It is an obvious total lack of concern for the law and need to be addressed. Any other road in Lake Mills, this would not be tolerated. There would be traffic stops and citations, tickets would be issued. I am again requesting speed limit signs be posted on the property line of the park on both sides of the road, perhaps adding red flags who draw more attention to them. I am also again requesting the digital speed sign be placed on Park Lane Road, as well as a higher police presence during peak boat launch hours. I ask all of you to address this public safety concern in an expedient manner. Respectfully, David and Lori Peters, W8096 Park Lane Road.
When you guys sit out there, Matt, what are you finding?
We haven't found any violations, and we have been out there. I plan on getting the speed board sign up, it's currently down, that's the reason it hasn't been posted yet. And they do have an extra patrol on there, so when they do work, they do spend time out there. Obviously, we give it as much attention as we possibly can. So we will continue.
I saw Bob today, he said he spent a lot of time out there over the weekend.
Yeah.
Well, I was just kind of curious.
I've had to mark cars.
Do they seem like they're going fast, or are they really going fast?
They're not really, I mean, well, I've got no citations issued by the officer, that's what I can test.
Okay.
So, and we will continue to run stationary radar there.
Anything
park
else?
Squad there, and as much presence as I can with the part-time meetings.
Sure. Sounds reasonable.
As soon as I get the speed board up and running from the county, I did ask and they agreed to let us use it. They just said it's not currently set to go. So as soon as it's up, I will have it out there.
Okay, great.
Can I go back a minute?
Sure.
Sharon noted that the price of iron went up, so the rack might exceed $2,000. If it went up.
If it went up, it might, last time it was 1985.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if the price of iron possibly went up.
Well, we can bring that back. I'm sure it's not going to happen before July, so.
Okay.
Let me talk to Bob and see what he says. The price of iron went up.
I don't know.
We don't know. Anything's possible.
What do you mean you don't know?
I said if.
Oh.
I didn't say if.
She's afraid we're gonna go over budget.
If you only, yeah, if you just said 2,000, then it would be going over.
Well, let me talk to him, see what he has to say. It's not going to fall right off the cloud
Yeah,
tomorrow.
No, I know.
Price of commodities.
Anything else correspondence-wise?
That's it.
Okay. All right, let's again beat around the meeting schedule. June 21st is open book here at the town hall from 4 to 6 p.m. July 5th is the planning commission meeting at 8 p.m. I will work with Wilkie to see if there is some time when he could come together with our group. Joint Rock Lake Committee, I know, has postponed their meeting until August. So that's not happening. July 11th is the regular town board meeting at 8 p.m. And July 20th
Okay.
is Thursday at 6 p.m., the Board of Review.
Okay.
6 to 8, a walloping good time. All right. Anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it. Meeting is adjourned.